Good day Forex trader. Eur Usd Forex Signal, pullback likely after hitting key resistance. The Eur Usd pair will likely resume the bearish trend as bears target the lower side of the channel at 1.1278. Bearish view. Sell the Eur Usd and set a take profit at 1.1278. Add a stop loss at 1.1420. Timeline, 1 to 2 days. Bullish view. Set a buy stop at 1.1380 and a take profit at 1.1450. Add a stop loss at 1.1300. The Eur Usd rose to an important resistance as Jerome Powell testified in the Senate. The pair rose to a high of 1.1360, ahead of the latest American Consumer Price Index, CPI, data. Powell commits to aggressive rate hikes. Jerome Powell testified on Tuesday as he tried to convince senators about his achievements in his first term as the Fed chair. He is expected to get support from most senators, therefore getting a second term as the chairman. In his testimony, he mostly focused on the rising American inflation and what the bank will this year. The bank has already committed to ending its quantitative easing, QE, policies this year. It has also hinted that it will implement 3 rate hikes this year. However, in the testimony, Powell was more brazen. He said that the bank will embrace a more aggressive tone if the pace of price increases do not come down. This means that it could implement more than 4 hikes this year. The US dollar declined slightly during his testimony. The same is true with bond yields, with the 10-year and 30-year falling to 1.72% and 2.08%. The Eur Usd pair will next react to the latest American consumer inflation data. Economists expect that the data will show that the headline CPI rose to 7% in 2021. The core CPI is also expected to rise to 5.4%, which will be the highest level in decades. These numbers will come a day after the OECD said that inflation in its member states rose to 5.8% in December. Therefore, conditions are ripe for more tightening considering that the country's unemployment rate has declined to a pandemic-era low of 3.9%. On the other hand, there are questions about when the European Central Bank, ECB, will start moving. Eur Usd Forecast. The 4-hour chart shows that the Eur Usd pair has been in a tight range recently. The pair rose to the key resistance level at 1.1360, where it has struggled moving above several times before. It also moved slightly above the 25-day moving average while the stochastic oscillator has moved close to the overbought level. It is also slightly below the 38.6% Fibonacci retracement level. Therefore, the pair will likely resume the bearish trend as bears target the lower side of the channel at 1.1278. This view will be invalidated if it moves above 1.1400. Gbp Usd Forex Signal, medium-term bullish momentum. Rise in pound may be slowing favor of commodity currencies. Today's Gbp Usd signals. Risk 0.75%. Trades may only be entered before 5 p.m. London time today. Long trade ideas. Go long following a bullish price action reversal on the H1 time frame immediately upon the next touch of $1.3614 or $1.3483. Place the stop loss 1 pip below the local swing low. Move the stop loss to break even once the trade is 25 pips in profit. Remove 50% of the position as profit when the price reaches 25 pips in profit and leave the remainder of the position to ride. Short trade idea. Go short following a bearish price action reversal on the H1 time frame immediately upon the next touch of $1.3709. Place the stop loss 1 pip above the local swing high. Move the stop loss to break even once the trade is 25 pips in profit. Remove 50% of the position as profit when the price reaches 25 pips in profit and leave the remainder of the position to ride. The best method to identify a classic price action reversal is for an hourly candle to close, such as a pin bar, a doji, an outside or even just an engulfing candle with a higher close. You can exploit these levels or zones by watching the price action that occurs at the given levels. Gbp Usd Analysis. I wrote 2 weeks ago that the support level at $1.3376 looked likely to be the day's pivotal point. This was a good call in the sense that while the level did not hold or break very precisely, once the level was broken to the upside, the price continued to rise in bullish swings and has been doing so ever since. We seem to have a clearer direction in the forex market as Jerome Powell's remarks about the Fed's balance sheet suggested a more dovish tilt to monetary policy, causing the US dollar, which had already been weakening, to begin selling off more firmly. As for the British pound, it has been strong for several days, and we see that technically with a clear sequence of higher lows and higher highs being made in this currency pair. This suggests that it is time to look for long trades, but the problem is that there is a very important US economic data release today in the form of inflation, CPI, data which will be very closely watched and can move the market in the US dollar if there is a surprise. If there is no surprise, the bullishness will continue. I will therefore be very happy to take a long trade from a bullish bounce which we might see later at $1.3614, or with a limit order at $1.3483 which might be triggered by a sudden spike down following the US CPI release later. Aud USD Signal, bearish breakout ahead of US CPI likely. The Aud USD pair will likely break out lower after the latest US inflation data. Bearish view. Sell the Aud USD pair and set a take profit at 0.7100. Add a stop loss at 0.7260. Timeline, 1 to 2 days. Bullish view. Set a buy stop at 0.7220 and a take profit at 0.7300. Add a stop loss at 0.7150. The Aud USD pair moved sideways on Wednesday as investors reflected on the testimony by Federal Reserve's Jerome Powell. The pair was also little changed ahead of the important Consumer Price Index, CPI, data from the United States. It is trading at 0.7190, which is a few points above this week's low at 0.7150. US inflation data. The Aud USD was little changed on Tuesday after Australia published the latest retail sales and trade numbers. Data by the Australian Bureau of Statistics showed that the country's retail sales continued doing well in November as most people did their Christmas shopping. In total, retail sales rose by 7.3% in November after they rose by 4.9% in October. Further data by the agency revealed that Australia's exports and imports did well in the same month. Exports rose by 2% after they dropped by 3% in the previous month. Imports, on the other hand, rose by 6% after falling by 2%. As a result, the country's trade surplus narrowed slightly to about $9.42 billion in November. In all, while the Australian economy is doing well, the biggest risk is that the country is seeing a rising number of COVID-19 cases. This surge has seen more states like Victoria announce measures to curtail the spread, especially among the unvaccinated. Looking ahead, the biggest catalyst for the Aud USD pair will be the latest American Consumer Price Index, CPI, data that will come out in the afternoon session. Economists polled by Reuters expect that the country's inflation jumped sharply in December as Christmas demand coincided with the supply chain challenges. Precisely, analysts expect that the headline CPI rose to 7% in December while the core CPI rose to 5.4%. These numbers will come a day after the Federal Reserve Chair hinted that the bank will take a more aggressive tone to deal with inflation. Aud USD Forecast. The 4-hour chart shows that the pair found a strong resistance level at 0.7276, which was the highest level in December. This price was also along the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. Now, the pair has formed a small bearish pennant pattern that is shown in blue. It also moved to the 25-day moving average while the stochastic oscillator has moved close to the overbought level. Therefore, the pair will likely break out lower after the latest US inflation data. If this happens, The next key support to watch will be at 0.7100.